As a book editor, I am so lucky to be able to say that I spend most of my working hours tucked into a story. I've been editing books in some capacity for nearly a decade, and between my years spent working in the publishing industry at a literary agency and at a division of Random House, and my years running my own independent developmental book editing business, I've edited more than 350 books. And that number is still climbing. I was admittedly really surprised to learn that I've edited this many books myself, but more than anything, it's truly so amazing and humbling to realize that many authors have trusted me with their story. And if any of my incredible authors are watching this right now, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, truly. For today's video, I wanted to be super reflective and think about what I've learned about writing, editing, and publishing after working through hundreds of edits. Hopefully these insights will be helpful to you if you are somewhere along your own writing and publishing journey. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Every week, I either post a video with publishing advice, as my background is in the traditional publishing industry, or I give writing advice especially geared towards novelists. So if any of that interests you, please consider subscribing and joining our amazing community of more than 35,000 writers. One tiny piece of housekeeping, it takes just a second, but if you hit that thumbs up button, it really helps out my channel a lot, and I really appreciate it. The first piece of insight I learned after editing hundreds of books is that a great book really does take great writing and a great story. Many authors are first and foremost concerned with whether their writing on a sentence level is good or bad. And while the words that you use to string together sentences are of course very critical in creating a good story, it's not enough to just be a solid writer. The tactical ways that you communicate your story to a reader are just one component of the broader puzzle that makes up a great story. The tactical strategies that you use to communicate your story to a reader are ultimately just one component of creating a great, engaging, compelling book. You also need the elements of the story itself to be strong and pull the reader in and keep them engaged all the way through to the end. As a developmental book editor, I often find myself more interested in questions of story over prose. For instance, how do we make this character more engaging? How do we tighten up the pace? How do we amplify the suspense and tension and urgency? I've read and edited books where the writing is super solid, but the story isn't there. And on the flip side, books where the premise and story is super compelling, but the writing isn't there. You really need both. If you are personally concerned about whether your writing is good or not, check out my video where I dive into this question a bit more. I'll link it in the description. The next thing I learned after editing hundreds of books is that editors have different strengths. When I first started editing independently, I offered an array of services: editorial assessments, developmental edits, line and copy edits, etc. And I took on many projects across multiple different genres, such as short stories, novellas, and nonfiction book proposals, in addition to full-length novels. But I quickly realized that what excited me the most and what I was best at was developmental editing for narrative works, including novels and memoir and other narrative nonfiction. So then I started focusing my services just on that component. Other editors have a knack for grammar and clear prose, which makes them amazing copy or line editors. And editors who have a really strong sense of detail could be excellent proofreaders. Just as every author brings and flexes their own strengths in their story, every editor also offers their own strengths that they can bring to the table. That's because both are ultimately creative skills. If you've been enjoying my YouTube videos, don't miss out on all of the other amazing content I am putting out on my newsletter website, chapter-break.com. I'm publishing exclusive interviews with industry insiders, as well as successfully published authors, and offering editorial deep dives from my background as a developmental book editor. If that hasn't convinced you to sign up yet, as a freebie, I'm also giving you a free worksheet called My Story Self-Assessment. This resource is going to help you pinpoint the strengths and weaknesses in your own story, which I know can be so hard for you to see on your own, and help you take it to the next level on your next draft. The links to download my free Story Self-Assessment worksheet and check out my newsletter website are in the description. The next thing I learned from editing hundreds of books is that there are infinite ways to write a book, truly. I work with authors who are self-identified pantsers, and authors who are meticulous plotters with very robust outlines that they create even before they put a word on the manuscript page. Some of the authors I work with swear by the save the cat method, while others follow no particular writing technique or structure at all. And I honestly believe that no single writing technique is better or worse than another. No matter which way you write, you have the capacity to create a compelling, unique, and engaging story that will resonate with readers. I really recommend embracing whichever writing practice works for you. What is going to help you get your story on the page? If it's an outline, amazing, do it. If you need to come to the page without any outline whatsoever and just free write, do that. After all, a lot of the magic of developing and discovering your story comes through the revision process. I've found that authors who embrace revisions and developmental editing as part of their process, whether they are plotters or pantsers on their first draft, often have the most successful and compelling stories. So if you're feeling discouraged because the way that you write isn't the way that another author you admire writes, don't worry about it. This is an art form for a reason. Just like every painter has their own process, so does every writer. The final insight I discovered after reflecting on all of the books that I've edited is that no book is unredeemable. Sometimes an author that I work with will ask me if their book is even worth pursuing or if it's unredeemable and they should trash it and just start over or work on something else entirely. My answer to this conundrum is always the same. You should pursue it if you feel compelled to. If you feel passionate about it, I'm never going to tell you to not pursue that story. Perhaps there are ways that you can tell it in a more compelling way or tweak certain aspects of the story to better resonate with readers, but I don't hear a story idea and then simply say, that's a bad idea, don't write that book, don't continue it. After all, there are so many examples of books that maybe sound boring when you describe their premise, but are actually incredible. One that comes to mind is The Remains of the Day, which in essence is a story of a butler reminiscing on his time working at an English country estate. If you are committed to this story and you understand the value of revisions and developmental editing, then you can turn this story into something that you're proud of and confident sharing. Perhaps the next version of the story is drastically different than the original one that you produced, but that's okay. Sometimes the revision process requires finding and drawing out the true story. That said, if you're feeling totally creatively drained and you want to give up this story, then by all means do so. It's okay to DNF a book that you're writing, just as you can DNF a book that you're reading, which stands for do not finish. Spend your valuable writing time developing the stories that you feel called to tell. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I hope you thought some of the insights were helpful. Let me know in the comments what you're working on. If you have a current work in progress, I'd love to hear about it. Also, let me know where you're at in your writing or publishing journey. If you're interested in learning more about the type of editing I do, check out my video on Developmental Editing 101, where I break it all down. Before you head out, don't forget your free story self-assessment worksheet waiting for you in the description below, as well as my newsletter link. And while you're down there, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out my channel, and consider subscribing to join our amazing community. Thank you so much for watching, and happy writing.